Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back.
The Queen had chosen to meet Willem at Devil's Tower, and not without purpose. The structure stood on an isle, so no foe could approach without first exposing themselves on a narrow bridge. The isle had little vegetation midst which to conceal a large force. A small unit could evade detection. Altogether, not much to fear.
No escorts were your terms,
Began Gascon, with a hint of mischief.
but better safe than sorry, I always say.
What are you suggesting?
Yours truly and 4 chaps behind the walls. Give a signal, any signal, and we'll leap to your side.
Meve struggled with her conscience. There was no honor in Gascon's plan, but prudence, certainly. In the end, she nodded in agreement, though not without compunction. Willem arrived soon after, the heavily armored cavalry he had in tow clearly there to boost his courage. He left them at the foot of the bridge and rode across alone. A stiff wind from the river nearly made off with his ermine fur cloak. Willem and the mother who'd borne him stood face to face. They gazed into each other's eyes, waiting to see who would look away first. When neither did, Meve broke the silence.
Time flies, and I've a kingdom to liberate. No need to drag this out. What's this about? Tell me.
I thought my messenger already did.
Oh, he did. And how? Willem I wishes to arrange a truce. Only, Willem I is in no position to parley on an equal footing. Willem I can, at most, offer his unconditional surrender, because Willem I's losing this war.
Yes, Mother, I am. And I see that by losing I've at last made you content.
Don't play the victim. What next? Will you say you turned cloak because Mummy showed no warmth, displayed no feelings?
'Twould be unfair, any such judgment. You did show feelings, chiefly enmity, contempt. But that's not why I betrayed you. No, I simply disagreed with your choices, assessments.
I had every right to do what I considered just and good.
And I had every right to voice my view, which you ever ignored. Yet this is neither the time nor the place to discuss that. Let us parley as strangers. I'm losing, you say. And you're right. But I haven't lost yet, and have no intention to surrender. I am ready, however, to renounce my fealty to the Empire and pledge my forces to you. As long as you fulfill my conditions.
Let me hear them.
First, you will not rescind the reforms I've authorized already, any of them. Second, you will guarantee both my safety and that of my advisors. Third, I shall remain your heir, and next in line for the throne.
Okay, so this time I'm gonna choose one of these options. But when I finish the game, I'm gonna reload and choose another option, just to show you all of the different endings that you can get.
Impudent child. Insolent beyond all measure.
Well, I had to try. Goodbye, Mother. And may you...
Hold. I didn't say I reject them.
It's come my turn to listen.
You're impertinent, Willem. As you should be. Any future king must be certain of himself and his judgments. Rely on none but himself.
Thank you. I never suspected...
I'm not done. Time now you heard my conditions. You shall remove crown and royal cloak. You shall labour from dawn till dusk. And you shall fight at the fore in every battle. Is that clear?
Yes. Yes, Your Majesty.
It's settled then. Now the road beckons.
Willem bowed, turned, and walked away. Meve followed, still angry, though she could not stifle a smile. Soon thereafter, Meve's army set out towards Rivia Castle. It would not be long now before the decisive battle.
How do you fare, my son? My advisors, have you met them?
I certainly tried. But they've no wish to speak with me. Begin to mumble when I draw near. Even the ridiculously reverent Count Reynard.
Well, suspicion must still grip their minds. And for good reason, you must admit.
Yes. I've got a lot of work ahead of me, that's plain to see.
And you shall get to it straight away. As soon as we've spoken. General at Dahi. You must tell me more about him. I think it wise to know one's foes.
Actually, Mother, he reminds me of you, in many ways.
Truly? You're serious?
Mm-hmm. He's proud, confident, and positively loathes compromise.
I'll take that as a compliment. But do we differ in any way? I mean, besides the beard.
Contempt. He behaves as though he sees in us a different, lower race, the way some elves do. All the North he treats as a wilderness to be tamed, to be broken.
I saw this in Edirne. I know what you speak of. But I won't allow him to do anything of the sort.
Mother, I know Nilfgaard has not defeated you in battle. I know you've gone from one victory to the next. But I beg you, don't underestimate him. He's prepared to do anything, literally, to win.
I wanted to thank you.
But whatever for?
For your courage in believing we could reconcile. For extending a hand and helping all this fall into place. I wouldn't have done so. Ever. I would have fought it to the bitter end.
Mother, I understand.
If we hadn't, well, what might have happened? I don't even want to think about it.
Then don't, please. Let's just leave this all behind us. It's the past.
Your reforms? Tell me about them. You insist that I not repeal them. They must be a source of pride.
Mother, why must you mock me? If you wish, I shall tell you of my decrees, gladly so. Yet not to hear you scoff them and ridicule me.
You're right, Willem. I'm sorry. That was unfair. I'm willing to hear you out.
I began by clarifying key aspects of the rights of spoil and staple.
Meve listened intently and with rising interest. With her son's every word, her skepticism waned, giving way to swelling pride.
And thence my decision to revoke Sparla's trade privileges. You stand quiet, Mother. Awfully so.
There are few things I enjoy less than admitting I was wrong. We'll go over it all again, Willem, in detail, when peace comes, at a meeting of the Council of Peers. We shall speak later, my son.
Your Grace.
said Reynard, saluting and clicking his heels.
Peasants from the Scala region have arrived at camp. Supplicants, wishing to deliver a plea to your person.
Meve sighed. Supplicants, trials, audiences. All aspects of queendom she did not miss.
Very well. Bring them here.
She replied.
And instruct them to be brief, with no digressions.
The band of commoners was led by a sturdily built beekeeper dubbed Ethelred, son of Theobald. Finding himself in the Queen's presence, he fell to his knees and waved his arms in his best impression of proper etiquette.
Oh, my lady the Queen, your gracious mightiness, take pity on us tillers and toilers. Wars all around, leaving us but scraps to live off, and barely that, to be honest. So we beg you, don't do it. Don't raise the levies. We can't pay more than...
What?
Meve interrupted.
What the devils are you talking about?
What? Your decree? One they nailed to our notice board.
The peasant said, sheepishly pulling out a parchment and pointing to the relevant paragraph with his rough finger.
We, Queen Meve, do hereby proclaim that if our throne we shall recover, the tallage, murage, and pavage we shall raise threefold. The expenses of this war, for to compensate at the cost of the common folk.
Meve and Reynard exchanged astonished glances. They had issued no such decree. Yet the document bore her signature and seal.
Willem, did you have a hand in this?
No, Mother.
The prince said, shaking his head.
We were at odds, true, but never would have forged your name.
Then who fabricated this decree?
The Nilfgaardians.
The queen replied without hesitation.
They have access to my seal, to my scribes. They wish to spread fear, uncertainty, and doubt, turn my folk against me. And they are liars without any honor.
The queen tore the falsified document to shreds. Knowing this would solve nothing, she had to find the printers churning out these fakeries and end their run.
New orders? No?
Thing about slings, they hide well.
For the Queen!
Coin never stinks, no matter how rank the pouch.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die. To the last! I'm a monster.
Then retreat!
Lyria! One gun's all I need. Our ballista at your command.
Of course, as you wish, master. Watch your heads! I never miss.
The chase is on!
Eddard Fane!
Again and again and again.
My prescription, a bit of bloodletting.
I'll show my mother she's wrong.
Ours is not to reason why.
Your humble servant.
Aye.
To thee, ni gloire!
Go on, Encazel! Discipline, that is what you folk lack.
Oi, Meavy!
cried Gascon, as usual paying no heed to courtly etiquette.
Come here a minute.
Would it hurt so terribly to occasionally address me by Your Grace or Your Majesty?
Didn't want to be petty, but since you bring it up, you've never once addressed me as the Duke of Dogs.
Ugh.
Meve sighed, rolling her eyes.
Get on with it.
My lads jumped one of the Blackclads' transports. Guess what they were hauling?
Gascon handed Meve a pot filled to the brim with a thick, dark fluid.
Paint?
Close. Printer's ink. Same tone used in those phony decrees.
Meve spun on her heel, put a hand to her mouth, and yelled,
Reynard! Send scouts to comb the area!
Her soldiers returned a few hours later with good news. They were able to find a Nilfgaardian printer's workshop hidden in an abandoned barn. It was guarded by a division of elite infantry.
Right, so?
Gascon thumbed the edge of his blade.
Shall we stop the presses?
Time for the Nilfgaardians to publish a retraction.
Spoke the Queen as she drew her sword.
Signed with their own blood. Follow me!
The Lyrians did not need to be told twice. Their Queen's honor, her good name, that was a cause well worth fighting for.
It's her! Yes, you fool her! Sound the alarm! Larum!
Oh, Lyrian lummoxes.
I'm a won't say.
Have her done in a jiffy. Discipline. That is what you folk lack.
Hail Katza!
One boat's all I need. Give me a time.
Eddard Fane! Abalista, your command.
Off to the front yet again.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Quiet, or the commissar will hear. For Rivia! Brach! Scheiß! In time!
Off to the front yet again.
they weren't expecting us. Seems they believed their own blarney.
The Nilfgaardians fought fiercely, led by a seasoned covert agent. Seeing he would soon fall into enemy hands, he put a knife to his throat and, in a quick slash, sent blood pouring over paper and still wet ink. Reynard leapt towards him, trying to stanch the red tide. But it was too late, and the spy's secrets perished with his last gargled breath. Niamh picked up a freshly printed pamphlet. The document listed her many crimes and misdeeds, the true and the manufactured alike. Above the main body of the text, an etching depicted her, well, in a very unflattering manner.
How about a taste of their own medicine?
Asked Gascon, piecing blocks of type into a scathingly foul phrase.
Me and the lads will scratch out a couplet about Epdahi, spread it around the countryside, give the folk a hearty laugh at those tossers' expense.
Yes, these presses should be put to good use.
The Queen said.
But printing lewd jests is not it. We must spread facts. Tell what the Nilfgaardians did in Aldersburg, how they tried to murder me in Mahakam and Angren. What fate lies in store for those they conquer?
Gascon grew serious and set the ink-stained type back down.
Get to work. Before the sun sets, I wish to hold the first document in my hands.
Soon, in every town, village and tavern, there hung a notice detailing Nilfgaard's crimes. The outraged Rivians did what they could to strengthen the Queen's army. Some by offering coin, others by joining her ranks.
Nilfgaard left none alive in Rosberg, not even one woman, and no child was spared! Peasants from Edern have been captured and put to work by force. Nilfgaard now prepares the same fate for Rivia and all Rivians. Emperor Emir var Emrys is a Vran imposter, a Vran Doppler! Peasants from Edern have been captured and put to work by force. Nilfgaard now prepares the same fate for Rivia and all Rivians! Nilfgaard left none alive in Rosberg, not even one woman.
will never die so long as we are alive. Nilfgaard will not spit in our maws! Lady, the traitors run before you. Find me a map, and I'll show you where they buried the loot. Rivia will never die so long as we are alive. Rivia will never die.
These lands, they look familiar to you?
Naturally, Your Grace. They're the venerable Count Caldwell's.
War, death, chaos. Everywhere but here. This land's positively pastoral.
The traitorous Caldwell family's residence loomed into view. Against the horizon, it looked suitably sinister. Yet the manor had changed since Meve last saw it. 2 new wings, ornate towers, a grand colonnade. And the windows now glistened with stained glass, the gilded hue of imperial suns.
We must pay them a visit,
Seethed the Queen. The great double doors opened with an echoing thud. Just inside them stood the heir to the estate, Dragomir, his wife and 3 children by his side, and Helena, the treacherous Count's widow. Sliding the cap from his head, thus giving proof of the family's hereditary baldness, Dragomir knelt down upon one knee.
Your Grace, my father's betrayal stands beyond doubt and exoneration.
The young Caldwell said flawlessly, and in a single breath, as if he'd practiced a dozen times.
And his death at your hands was most well deserved. I beseech you to lay your trust in Prince Willem. He'll confirm I knew naught of my father's plans. I humbly ask that you not punish me for his sins. Allow me to stay on my ancestral lands, to serve faithfully as your loyal subject.
I believe not a word slithering out of his mouth,
whispered Reynard.
The first chance he gets to stab you in the back, he will take.
Meve narrowed her eyes and gazed at Dragomir. Large drops of sweat dripped from his brow.
You may stay,
said the Queen, finally breaking the silence.
On 2 conditions. Firstly, you will make a considerable donation toward the war effort. Then field an infantry regiment, fully outfitted, under my command.
Naturally, Your Grace. And the other?
In one swift motion, Meve snatched a crossbow from a soldier, put it to her cheek, and loosed. Caldwell the Younger screamed bloody murder as he threw up his arms to shield his face. The bolt hissed by and struck the center of a golden sun, shattering one of the stained glass windows.
Redecorate,
said the Queen flatly. She then mounted up and sped off, earnestly hoping she'd not come to regret her generosity.
I shall replace the glazing in the windows to bear Rivian diamonds. A glazier I've already sent for. My father was wrong about you, and even more wrong about Nilfgaard. I shan't let you down, Your Majesty. I shall stand by your side until victory's achieved. Again, many thanks, Your Grace. And this, may it serve as proof of my loyalty. My father was wrong about you, and even more wrong about Nilfgaard. My father was wrong about you. And even more wrong.
Again and again and again.
Oh, Lyrian lummoxes. The chase is on!
Left, right, left, right.
One bullet's all I need.
You sure about that?
It's not too late to walk away.
This could hurt.
Give me a time. Our ballista at your command.
For the Queen!
Eddard Fane! Should have listened to me, old lady.
God save the Queen! Nilfgaard!
This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads.
My prescription, a bit of bloodletting.
We must trust each other.
To the last!
March on.
Barbarians.
Let me tell you of Ravencloft, a quarry Meave passed by. A quarry with a dark history. For years earlier, its wall had collapsed, burying dozens alive. Scholars summoned from Oxenfurt were unanimous in their findings. The rock was fragile, further digging would likely cause slides. Meave had heeded the scholars' advice and closed the quarry by royal decree. Yet now, as she neared it, Meave could hear the even tap of pickaxes. She dispatched scouts to investigate. They returned promptly, their faces sullen, their cloaks blanched with a fine limestone dust.
Quarry's open anew, Your Grace. Nilfgaardians. They've got folk in the pit working it. Appear to be from the surrounding villages.
Interesting. Their engineers have found a way to render it safe. Secure the walls.
I'd say that's right unlikely, Majesty. Judging by the fresh graves we saw.
My son, I trust now you see the superior culture Nilfgaard has brought.
Said Meave, turning towards Willem. In answer, the prince merely dropped his head. The Queen then turned to Reynard, as ever at her side.
Reynard, what do you advise?
As a soldier, my Queen, I'd advise against any kind of assault. The terrain's hard, unsuitable for a fight, and we've little to gain from a victory. As a man, however...
Yes?
To leave our folk in chains, in that death trap. 'Twouldn't be right.
If I were to calculate in heart and mind, keep note of gains and losses...
Began Meave.
I'd bend the knee to the Imperials, just as Willem did. But bloody arithmetic won't dictate my course. For I do what's just. I do what's right. Follow me!
Her troops followed without hesitation, swords in hand, their hearts afire.
Those whoresons. Forcing my own subjects to fight us.
Wait, you're serious?
From half a league away.
Our ballista, your command.
Oh. Your Grace, if we begin killing the overseers, the labourers will turn against them.
I'm a monster. Lyria! One boat I need. Give me a target.
Ha!
The overseers are dead, Your Grace.
The Lyrians handily dispatched the Nilfgaardian overseers, more trained in the ways of the whip than the sword. Those who survived now found themselves shackled in the very chains they'd forced the peasants to wear. Peasants. Oh, unfortunate souls. The cruel labor in the quarry had taken its toll. They stood before the Queen, shrunken to skin and bone, clothed in tattered rags, their eyes reddened by dust. But in those eyes burned a brilliant fire.
Your Grace, them black-clads treated us like dogs, stripped us of dignity. So we beg you, give us arms, let us march neath your banner. 'Tis a chance at revenge we seek, we want.
Reynard leaned towards Meave and spoke in a scarcely audible whisper.
Majesty, they've nowt. Not boots, not even foot wraps. To equip the lot, train them, would cost a small fortune.
'Tis true. They've nowt to their names,
said the Queen.
Have few skills to offer and little strength. But to look in their eyes is to know they'll never flee, never throw down their arms. Such recruits are worth coining any amount.
Emaciated, downtrodden, the peasants met the Queen's offer with gratitude. They relished the thought of facing their tormentors in a fight. Meave now reached Willowhain, a settlement she knew well, for it lay near Waldenrad, where in peacetime she would go to escape her queenly duties and enjoy the thrill of a hunt.
Pheasant, grouse, and partridge in abundance. You will see,
said Meave in muted excitement, pivoting in her saddle to face Gascon. Alas, it appeared the war had ravaged even these woods. Where life had stirred and grown tall before, only resinous trunks remained. and the village itself had lost its quaint allure, surrounded now by a double stockade, a golden sun fluttering above it.
Bastards couldn't even let the damn trees be.
Gascon seethed. A dismal scene. Her once cherished wood, and it weighed heavily on the Queen's spirits. Waldenrad had been a place removed, where she could rest and forget the weight of her crown. Reynard's voice roused Meve from her sad reverie.
A Nilfgaardian garrison holds the village,
he said.
We ought to drive them out, avoid any surprise later from the rear.
Give the order to attack, but none is to play the hero. We shall breach or topple the stockade together. Senseless to perish so close to home.
Reynard nodded. Moments later, the Lyrians rushed forth and attacked.
Time has come to purge these devils from our homes! Follow me!
Ours is not to reason why.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Ha! Ha!
Give me a target.
Alba!
I will listen to your command. I'm a war servant.
John.
There he gloire!
Again and again and again.
For the Queen! God save the Queen!
You mad? Don't shake that!
Gloire!
My prescription, a bit of bloodletting. A highly curious case.
Rivia is ours! Ours!
When the battle dust had settled, Niamh instructed her soldiers to gather Willowhane's inhabitants. Upon spotting their armed liberators, the common folk cowered in terror.
No longer need you fear.
The Queen shouted.
No longer must you worry about homes and loved ones. The war's nearly done.
Of a sudden, a villager dropped to his knees and raised his hands to the heavens in supplication.
Troche! Guide my queen!
Niamh broke off oddly, baffled by the man's outburst. And then it dawned on her. The Rivians of Willowhane had been driven away. Taking their place, Nilfgaardian settlers brought in to transform the near-subsistence plots of local peasants into great estates producing for the Empire. Reynard managed to grasp the essence of the Nilfgaardian peasants' frantic pleas.
They wish to stay. They've come to love the land. They pledged to renounce their emperor, swear allegiance to you as their rightful ruler. They...
Niamh had stopped listening. She turned to survey the hamlet. The walls of the huts freshly whitewashed, tools neatly arranged, flower beds well tended. A young girl of 6 or 7 summers peered out from her hiding place in a sunflower patch.
Your Majesty?
Asked Reynard, having noted that Niamh's mind had wandered.
What are your orders? What shall we do?
They can stay on 2 conditions. Tell them. For 15 years, they'll pay double the tax. And if any of the previous inhabitants return, they're to be given their huts, lands, and any crops produced in their absence without delay.
The Nilfgaardian settlers accepted the terms with relief. Niamh's soldiers with markedly less enthusiasm. As the force left Willowhane, the troops made a show of knocking aside any food or drink the peasants offered.
Maeve! Hier, Iguar! Clar and Lydia and Rivia! Eslain Kere, Sherlain, Marantaich, Stermat Avain. Clar and Lydia and Rivia!
You mad? Don't shake that!
Wait, you're serious?
The chase is on!
march on.
Pays late. Again.
This could hurt.
Left, right, left, right. Again and again and again.
Have it the white of an eye from half a league away.
An army's a waste of time for one like me.
We must trust each other.
Our ballista, your command.
A king faces difficult choices.
God save the Queen!
To the last!
Left, right.
Hammer done in a jiffy.
Left, right.
Aye. Armor won't save. One boat's all I need. Should have listened to me, old lady.
And we will continue this in the next episode, so if you liked this one, give it a like, dislike if you think it sucked, and see you next time. Thank you.